and welcome to Unit 4 of the Spectator Safety MVQ. We're going to do something a little bit different on this one. Rather than actually show you the PowerPoint, I'm just going to go through the portfolio with this. And the reason for this is because a lot of this will be filled in when we see each other, when we do the face-to-face training, and also the scenario. So this is an all-encompassing one. When I normally teach this in the classroom, this is normally the last one that we do because we get everything else done, and then we move forward obviously with this Unit 4. So all I want to do is just next 5-10 minutes or so, just to give you an understanding and what sort of thing we're looking at. Okay, so here we go. So a lot of you are probably working in a team, or in your other jobs, you actually work in a team. You might actually be able to answer some of these questions. Okay, so why is teamwork important to stewards? Well, it enables us to know the names and interests of all staff. Is that important? I'd probably say no. Is it helps to have someone to talk to when the work is boring? No, because obviously the work shouldn't be boring. It's not important, but can be useful when dealing with some situations. No, not at all. So the answer to that, I would say, is D. To ensure the organisation provides consistently high standards of service. What you've got to understand when it comes to teamwork is there are two people in this. The first one is obviously the employer, and the next one is obviously you as a steward. Now, it's important that you understand and you work as a highly efficient individual, because then that then promotes yourself. That makes you look a professional individual, which will actually get rid of most of the issues that potentially could come across in a stadium. But if you're working and you have a team of 6 and 6 people working to their full potential, then that then means that the team is now working. And if the team is working, and there's 6 teams at a stadium, and you're part of that team, then 6 teams will actually create a great working environment and actually deal with things consistently. So, again, as we're going through this, please give these answers. If you don't know the answers to these, please do not worry. And the reason being because we will go through this obviously during the days that we are together, and a lot of this will be completed after the scenarios. Okay, so you don't need to worry about that. Again, exactly self-explanatory. On this one here, question 11: when is it not appropriate to provide help and information to colleagues? Well, it's always important that you give this information to people, but there would be certain occasions when it's not appropriate. And the first one is when that you're going to start talking over that person. So where you'll find it is, and you've had this, and I've seen this on numerous occasions, is that somebody will be speaking to a spectator or a customer. They will answer the questions. Someone will then come along and then completely butt in and then start talking and doing their own thing. That to me is not appropriate, because if the individual that they're speaking to understands it and they're getting the information across, there is no requirement whatsoever to then start talking over that person. I would only say until they get stuck and or they ask for your assistance. So that would be one place where it's not appropriate. And the other time is actually when you don't know the answer. You'll find this where a lot of individuals, they'll get asked a question and they don't actually know the answer to the question. They almost borderline bluff it, shall we say. So it's when you're not giving advice is when you're not confident on the answer. So if someone says, is that certain item allowed into the turnstile? And that person does not know, or that person believes they know. For example, it could be a camera. A camera comes in, that someone would ask you and turn around, or you would ask someone and say to them, is that allowed in? And they then turn around and say, I don't know, but yeah, go on, that's okay. That's not appropriate. That's when you need to go to your supervisor. Okay, so just give you a little bit of a steer on there. What you've got here is all about CPD. Continuously improve your own work. We'll talk about all this when we do the scenarios. Now, there's certain questions on here that we don't want you to complete or even look at until you do the qualifications. Until you do the scenarios. Okay, and this one here is question 18. Because when you're doing these scenarios, you will be receiving feedback upon your performance and what you did to action that feedback. Question 19, look at your strengths and areas for development. Again, that will be led upon the actual scenario-based training, because we will actually, or when I'm there, I will actually sort of lead you into that. You'll have a discussion with everyone else. And then question 20, based upon what's been said, is minimum of 2 development activities you plan to complete in the future. Now, you can look at potentially doing your level 3, potentially doing your SIA, first aid course, along those sort of lines. But that's something we're going to discuss in the classroom when we're obviously face to face. And this is obviously 2 examples of situations where the customers provide feedback. Now, when we do the scenarios, other people will be the customers for the sake of the scenario. So this is where you'll get the feedback received. Okay. So again, Unit 4, having a look at the qualification. It's more along the lines of what you're currently doing at the moment. It can be relative to what you currently do. So use that information to answer the question. But we will be going through this. Okay. Where you've got here, and this always gets a few people confused, where you've got question 26, list 4 areas in which customer service can be improved. This is your stadium, this is your event, so type of things where customer service can be improved. That could be more choice in foods, that could be bit of a lick of paint, if you like, in certain areas, more signage. Okay, but again, please don't answer that question if you don't feel that you know the answers to. We will be going through this on the days that we are together. Okay, so that's Unit 4 in its entirety. Again, a lot of this is all about your own personal assessment. It's all about your own continual professional development. And it's also surrounding, obviously, you working as part of a team. But we will be focusing this on when we do meet. So what we'd like to do is, obviously, once you've done these and when you do turn up for the dates, we'd very much like you to have completed as much as you can. And Unit 4 we will be completing. So that's Unit 4 done. Thanks for listening, and listen out for Unit 5. Many thanks. Bye.